Fractal Juegos is a company that I was not expecting to find at Spiel in 2023 when I was there, and yet I did find. They were absolutely charming and amazing, and they gave me two games, Expedition to 5X, which I have already reviewed, and Nebula, which I was gagging to take out, because when they told me about it, I thought, ooh, I could get into this game. Now, after having played it, is this game actually going to be worth the amount of money that you have to pay to get your hands on it? Let's find out. So play we all. Nebula is a puzzle game in which the players are going to have to put little gems, as in stars, onto their board in order to create constellations. And those constellations, depending on how they are created and what the personal and race goals of the games are going to give you a number of points at the end of the game. The player with more points wins the game. It's simple as that. But is it? Well, not quite. This is the game. These are the components, and components-wise, I love it. One little detail, the nebula in the box glows in the dark. Such a cute little detail, and I absolutely loved it. The components are very, very good quality. The cardboard is really thick. Everything has been very nicely printed. The player boards have these little recesses so you can put the gems so they don't go scattered all over the place. The tokens are easy to grab and very clear to distinguish between them. The cards are big enough and small enough to fit in the box. They comes with this lovely little cloth bag, where you have all your gems, plenty of gems, and they look absolutely gorgeous on the table. So production wise, this is great. One little detail is that you get two decks of cards, or three decks of cards. You have 3 decks of cards, but in 2 different languages. Yeah, in Spanish and in English, because this game, although it's not language dependent, but it is largely so. And the fact that within the same box you get both languages, don't worry about what edition of the game you get. You just get the game and you will be able to understand it if you speak Spanish or English, of course. So, having said that, setting up, simple enough. This is a game for up to 4 players. So you get main board with some spaces where you put some gems, and these are stars. Put some race objectives. This bottom board here is optional. Actually, you don't need it to play the game, but it gives a little bit more strategy and a few more points at the end of the game. And it is fun, I have to say, with a few goals in here. Then every player is going to get 2 of these personal goals. That's how we played it. And 1 board. These are kind of personal tracks. So when you fulfill a mission in any of these cards, you put it on top, and if you put it on top, then you claim the points at the top of the card. If you are the 2nd, 3rd or 4th player, then you have it at the bottom and you get fewer points at the end of the game. That's the setup. It takes like 3 minutes to do, perhaps. Is next to nothing. Then you get this, which is your starter set, your starter player, and what you're going to do is move this. These are the time tokens, and you have 5 time points. So when you move them, so say that you have to move 5. You cannot move more than that. So say that you say, I want 1, 2, 3, because this is the black star, and 1 and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Those are what you take. So you take 1, 2, 3 gems. That's it. You put them to the side. Place these tokens in here, which is where you're meant to start the next round, so you know exactly where you were. And then you're going to put these stars. These stars you can put 2, unless one of the stars that you have, one of the gems, is the same color as this in the center. In this case, it's black. Black stars have different rules because instead of going into constellations, they're going to go on top. And these are going to be helpful to accumulate points at the end of the game. These ones, though, you have to put in constellations, but there are rules for that. You cannot have 2 stars of the same color connected in any way, shape, or form. So if you look in here, you can see how this is connected to this, and this, and this. So you would not be able to, for example, do this, or this, or this. But you can do that, or you can do that. That's one very important rule. And the other important rule is that you have to place the stars one beside the other. So I could do this and this, no problem whatsoever. Next round, so on and so forth. If you place a black star, then this meter advances. If it does, then at the end, when it reaches here, these points, the star in the middle gets changed for another one randomly chosen. So the main star color will change a few times. Once you've placed your stars, then you have to advance one of these chits. Why? This is a very tricky one, okay? You're gonna get a number of missions. Like, for instance, any red and orange connected stars are going to give you points. As you advance them, you know, say that you advance blue, and then the next player is going to advance 2, and then the following player is going to advance 1. The point is, the closer they get to the end, up to 3, so say like that, and like, oops, no, and like that. Okay. So the closer to the end is going to get the points. The second closest is going to be the second place, and the third place. And that's going to give you more points at the end of the game. This is a little bit on the confusing side, which is why it took us a couple of rounds to actually get to grips with it. The thing is that you don't need it. You can play the game without this board, and it plays very nicely and a lot simpler, I have to say. However, I love the element of strategy that this gave you. So I would recommend going with it, unless you play with very young children. Once you've done that, next player counts 5 points, gets stars, and so on and so forth. Once you have 1 star left in these nebulosas, in these nebulae, then you take randomly off this bag and put a few more inside. The game ends when enough black stars have been placed, when you cannot get any more gems out of here, or when somebody has run out of this race track tokens. That's it. And once that happens, well, let me show you. This, my friends, is the scoring board. You're gonna need a calculator. Believe me, you have so many things to score. You have to score how many of your personal missions you achieved, how many of your race missions you achieved, then how many of these board have been achieved, which is a bit so on and so forth. So it takes a while. I think it took us a bit, I'm not going to say longer, but it took us a while to actually do all the math and the calculations to find out who won the game. This scoring board is a bit strong, very strong. The game feels fantastic to play. I really loved it. There's so much to think. There are so many different cards that you're never going to get bored with finding out new missions and so on. It was fun. It was very easy to understand. We got the rules pretty much right away, and we only had to check them out twice, perhaps, throughout the night. It was very easy, and it looks beautiful. Well, once the whole thing is set on the table, it just looks absolutely fantastic. Word of warning, the box tells you it is 8 years older. I really cannot see an 8-year-old playing this game full whack. I can't. It is too much, and they would probably get either frustrated or bored or not know exactly what to do. 10, 12 years old, yeah. 8, the simpler version perhaps, but even that I think it would be quite a lot. Maybe I am underestimating children, who knows. Also, the box says 40 minutes. No way in hell this can be played by 4 players in 40 minutes. No. We took us about an hour and a half and we were reading the rules. But even so, I reckon that it would take about an hour minimum to play this with 4 players. Just at the very minimum thinking that you have to do, it's going to take some time. So it will take a little bit longer than that. Do I recommend this game? Well, we loved it. We really enjoyed it, and we're looking forward to playing it again, which is quite something for us because we have so much choice of games to play that we don't normally repeat an awful lot. But this, we are really looking forward to trying it again. We enjoyed it very much. There is so much to do. Simple to get to grips with, and enough player interaction, you know, stealing cards from each other, so the gems from another one, trying to get on top of another one. It just felt good. Enough competition to make it interesting, not so much that it becomes unpleasant. Plenty to do throughout the game. If you can get your hands of Nebula and you like puzzle games, yep, I think you will enjoy this very much. I most certainly did. Let me know what you think. I very much look forward to hearing from you. But until the next time, thank you so much for being there, and I will talk to you very soon. Take care.